This might get weird.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Well, then cheers, Grace Helbig.
Cheers, Mamrie Hart.
You guys, this is going to be a doozy of a dooze, I believe.
This is going to be what we've all been waiting for.
We are loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
I would say delirious. If I had to choose a word, it would be delirious.
Yeah, because I think that's got a positive connotation to it.
I think so, too. It kind of sounds like hilarious.
Yeah.
But like diddly-doo.
Yeah, it sounds like you just kind of cartoonishly lost your way, and that's okay.
Yeah, it'll be like...
You'll get it back.
There could be like a children's book like Dilly the Delirious...
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger. Y'all, if you're watching this on YouTube, hello, welcome. We are not in my back house today.
No. If you were thinking that Mamrie's back house got a makeover, you're wrong.
Never. It will never get a makeover. We are in Napa.
Yes.
We're talking wine country, baby.
Oof.
Our friend Jacqueline
Country of wine.
bought a house up here, and we're literally like in... I say a Nancy Meyers movie, like we're in some movie where like a woman gets heartbroken and comes to heal her heart while learning how to make wine.
The what's the Christmas one that we watched with Kate Winslet and
The Holiday.
The Holiday.
We're on The Holiday.
Well, it's like The Holiday, but there's no actual holiday attached. It's just like I'm heartbroken and need to go to somewhere remote
And
to
drink
learn how to
some
love
wine.
again.
And going to use making wine as a metaphor of it gets
Stomping
better.
it out.
It gets better over time.
Yep.
And so this woman feels like, I've gotten too old to find love. And then she meets a winemaker, and he's like, the finest bottles of wine
This
are
is
exactly
literally
your age.
This is the narrative. We went to a vineyard yesterday and we did wine tasting, and that was the narrative of the man that owned the vineyard, that he fell so in love with his high school sweetheart 16 years later.
Yes.
After they went their separate ways after high school, she became a professional dancer. He followed his father's footsteps in the vineyard business, and then they met back up on Facebook. He slid into what sounded like a DM.
I feel like we should give a little more context.
Oh, this is, I mean, did I not? This is the owner of the vineyard that we went to yesterday.
We went and tasted wine at a vineyard yesterday, and as they do, they like tell the story of the vineyard.
Which I didn't know that they did that.
I think it's like more some than others, like this,
depending on the story.
This was like a small vineyard, so they were like, we're really like a family owned. I love when they're like, we're a tiny business, and it's like, you're all millionaires.
I know.
This is the nicest place I've ever been.
It's even, I guess, even like Olive Garden has an About Us page of like the mythology of how they started
Have
their
you ever
business.
looked it up?
No, I haven't. It's for the best. But I will say that this vineyard definitely had a story.
Yes.
It seemed very plausible.
The minute we sat down, we were doing a tasting of red wines, as one does at 1 p.m.
on a 90-degree day.
If you're watching this, I am sunburnt. But we went, and they immediately give us a glass of champagne, and they go, this is called Bubbles for Bubbles. Mm-hmm. Bubbles is the name of our winemaker's wife. That's his nickname because she has a bubbly personality, and he loves her so much.
And then she loves Bubbles.
And every single wine, this poor girl had to come out and explain the wine to us, what grape it was, all of that. And then, in addition, why it's named after another reason why he loves his wife.
Yeah. And we were like, this man loves his wife. And she goes, that's him over there behind you. There's this man in denim walking around being totally casual and cool. And then Mamrie just goes, we love that he loves his wife. So loud. And he finally came over to our table at the very end of our tasting, was like, how is everything going? I was like, I have not seen you visit a single other table here this
Why are you
afternoon.
I mean, literally,
He was great.
One of the wines was called like, Why Amanda Loves Me.
Yeah.
That's the name of the wine.
Yeah.
Because apparently she tried his Cab Franc and she said, I love it. I love it. And he thought she was saying, I love you for the first. I was like, I don't buy this story. I don't buy this story.
I feel like they just took You've Got Mail and they deleted this stuff about emails and put in stuff about wine, and they just traded it. Still beautiful. And also in my mind just makes me nervous because I'm like, they can't go
they can't
bad.
break up.
They can't get a divorce. The fourth tasting was named after his kid.
Yep.
They have 3 kids who all have hilariously well-to-do names.
Just the white White modern names.
Yeah.
Crew.
Adler.
Cade.
Yeah. All those kind of names, which is very impressive names.
Just a one syllable sounds like a stabbing noise. Just a sharp punch to the face kind of name.
Yeah.
No, but truly,
great.
when they were weaving that tale, and I was like, I get it. The winemaker loves his wife.
Yeah.
But I was like, do they train... When they train you to do the tastings, are they really like helping you craft how you tell their love story?
Yeah.
It was...
But you have to really believe it to tell it.
That was so funny, Grace, though. If you sat down and they were like, well, unbeknownst to them, they were emailing each other while they were both in relationships. One of them had to close, one of them put the other out of business. And they said, you've got Cabernet.
Great. That's how I felt. I was like, so she's Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
And we used, Tom Hanks? And,
What a story, though.
Yeah. I appreciated the narrative. I didn't think I would get, wine and some
And a love story.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah. And then we just got a little red wine drunk at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Which is, I guess, what you're supposed to do on a Saturday up here. It feels like you're...
It's normal here.
Kicked out if you don't.
It's normal here.
Yeah.
I am...
Speaking of normal.
So tired. You guys, I also have like barely a voice because I've been laughing and talking and getting high.
Yeah.
And I think
very fun.
My throat's a little scratchy from smoking the ganja.
Yeah.
The last couple nights.
That'll happen.
So I'm feeling like a bit of a...
Well, you have to partake in some marijuana to be able to process the event of all events that is the reason for the season that we're up here this weekend.
Grace and I came up here. What are you doing?
Hold on.
Oh, you're wearing the shirt.
Yeah, because I ran out of all my other clean clothes.
Oh, she's wearing the swag from the bag that we received for being judges at the world's ugliest dog contest.
I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but like
look at
amazing
that logo.
graphics.
Look at that logo.
Amazing graphics. Incredible. I'm so thankful.
Grace and I, you guys know this, unless this is the first freaking episode of This Might Get Weird that you are listening to. You know the saga of me essentially harassing the Petaluma Fair to be judges. Because this is a world recognized competition.
Well, we learned as soon as we got there that this fair next year will be celebrating its 50th year.
No, I thought it was the contest was 50 years old.
Oh, I thought it was the fair. I was going to ask, does that mean the contest too? Something there is celebrating
going
50.
And it's not just the winemaker's anniversary to Bubbles.
No.
So, you guys, this was a fucking trip. I mean, like we say fever dream a lot, but this one, it was like, this fever, you need to be in the hospital or in a bathtub full of cold ice. As opposed to hot ice.
Yeah. I went in, I had no expectations. How can you have expectations about something like this?
That's so foreign and weird.
Weird, but also so straightforward. Yeah. Like, it's just going to be ugly dogs. You're supposed to just look at them and tell us which one's the ugliest. And you guys know we were panicking about what our criteria would be.
Yeah.
How do we judge what ugly actually is? Is it on the inside, the outside? Is it the owner having an influence? They gave us judging cards with like 5 criterion on it to score from 1 through 5 for every dog that was presented to us.
Yes.
So that for me was really helpful to be like, okay, we have some guidelines.
Yes,
here.
some guidelines. It was, let's see.
I remember natural
ugliness.
Ugliness was one of the
Which Grace and I were confused because we were like, as opposed to this dog has gotten work done to be uglier?
Do I need to search this dog for rogue gross extensions taped in anywhere?
Well, you remember that news story
about the camels?
The camels getting plastic
Botox
surgery
and all that.
So you never know if you're like, excuse me, were those teeth pulled so that tongue would come out more?
Yeah, the grand prize was $1,500 and an interview on the Today Show. So this is
priceless.
This is not small potatoes that people are playing for.
I mean, the fact is, like, I knew all about this contest because I looked forward to the results being in, like, the New York Post or something back when I lived in New York. Okay, so we had to judge from a scale of 1 to 5 on first impressions, which they got walkout music, you guys.
So we knew coming into it that each owner or handler had chosen a specific walkout song and that we were kind of given the heads up that they might do a trick or something.
I'm going to tell you, they built up that part bigger than it was.
I was expecting props. I was expecting reveals. I wanted costume changes. Yeah. I was thinking we're at a Drag Race finale right now, and they're coming out with a fully conceptual routine for
You wanted
10
a reveal.
I wanted reveals.
They say like, oh, why'd they let this cat out here? It's a dog!
Oh, let the dogs out! See, that's... If you guys need to hire us as coaches for this, we now have the qualifications.
We will talk more about that. Let me say, yes, if I had been bringing out my dog, there would have been much more of a routine.
Pomp and circumstance.
Absolute pup and circumstance. Yeah. But you guys got to know, they asked us to be at the fair way earlier than we needed to be. And of course,
earlier than we'd have to be at any theater for any show that we've done last year.
Any show. So Grace and I, being consummate professionals, we arrived early. I double checked on the email. I mean, I was making sure.
3 hours before the event started. 3 full hours before this event started. I thought we might have been running a little late.
Yeah, I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
We stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts. They were taking their damn time.
I got a grilled cheese because he was hungover at Dunkin' Donuts, and I said, babe, you're ruining this for us. Get in the car.
Chip comes back with all these donuts.
Yeah, he got a cornbread donut.
He said, let me explain this to you right now. We got a cornbread. I said, we gotta go. So anyway, we get there, out of the gate. We go to the administration office to get our credentials. They know who we are. I immediately meet the woman that I've been emailing with for 3 years.
Yeah, you looked at her, you're like, hello, it's been 3 years.
As soon as we entered there, they were like, is that Grace and Mamrie? Like they were ready for us.
Well, I think that we were probably the youngest people
in the world
at this fair, other than the people attending the fair at night.
Who were going there for smooches.
And we came in just like looking around like big eyes,
like just ready for Christmas. The amount of time in the following 3 hours leading up to the competition that people wished Beans good luck.
So Mamrie came with Beans because why not? And also Beans gives us cred to be able to judge this.
Yes, we're not just the president. We're the members of Ugly Dogs.
We know what a unique dog looks like.
Yes.
But then we walked into the fair and Mamrie started walking Beans and we realized that dogs aren't allowed in this fair.
No.
The only ones that are for the ugly dog contest. So it's no fault to anyone that obviously they would think that Beans is part of this. Everyone was wishing Beans good luck. Everyone was saying that thing's going to take it.
Even the organizer of the event, Cindy Chong, was like, why isn't she entered?
She was like, that's a breach of trust in this program.
We go to get some beers because Grace and I had a solid 6-pack in us when we got on that stage.
Thank God. I would have drank more had I known what was going to happen to us on that stage.
We were like, thank God they didn't have liquor. I'm at the beer line getting my beer, and the old woman in the little beer hut full on sticks her head out as like, I've seen all of these. She would win. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. But it was so funny when people would come up and they'd be like, she's in it, huh? And I go, no, she's not. And then one woman was just like, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, she's a crazy looking dog. I'm not offended, but she's not competing.
I know Mamrie's saying, oh, she's not competing. It's okay. It's still a compliment. I heard that probably 10 times before we even got to the stage area. Summer is full of official events, like weddings, graduations, and that annual 4th of July barbecue thing. But everyone knows that the best parts of summer are the unofficial ones. This summer, Coors Light is the official beer of everything unofficial, celebrating those moments that truly make summer chill. There's only one beer out there that's literally made to chill, and that's Coors Light. The mountains on the bottles and the cans turn blue when your beer is cold. That way, you always know when it's time to chill. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It's literally made to chill. Summer chill starts with a Coors Light. Make the most of your summer with a chance to win exclusive chill merch, fun local experiences, even a trip to New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Enter to win at CoorsLight.com/TMGW. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes end 8/15/22. Game ends 9/6/22. 50 US/DC 21 plus only. Void where prohibited. For rules, visit CoorsLightSummer.com. Okay, you guys know I love edibles, but sometimes edibles can get you a little too high. You know, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're out of your brain and you've eaten it and there's no going back. You're just sitting there spiraling. Well, that's why if you need the most perfect medium high, you can try Diet Smoke for their delicious Delta 8 THC gummies. I know, what's Delta 8? Delta 8 is simply a slightly less potent THC. The THC that you are probably the most familiar with is Delta 9, and while both are natural to the cannabis plant, Diet Smoke extracts their Delta 8 from hemp. Some people call this a loophole. Diet Smoke calls this a recipe for getting a smooth, stable, and most importantly, legal high. Now, does this really get you high? Yes, it does. But the high that you get with Diet Smoke is best described as somewhere between the chillness of CBD and the classic stoned feeling that you get with regular weed. Diet Smoke isn't light, it's just right. Plus, it comes in 2 delicious flavors, blue raspberry and watermelon. I've tried them both. They're fantastic. I say you should try them both and see what you like. Each gummy is infused with 10 milligrams of Delta 8 THC derived from American-grown hemp. Also, Diet Smoke's Delta 8 gummies are low in sugar, fat-free, and delicious. Wow, wow, wow. And did I mention that they're legal? Well, they are. So when CBD isn't enough and traditional THC is too much, enjoy the smooth buzz of Diet Smoke. Use promo code WEIRD for 20% off your order. Go to dietsmoke.com and use promo code WEIRD for 20% off your order. That's dietsmoke.com, promo code WEIRD for 20% off. Diet Smoke's Delta 8 THC gummies are not for use or sale to people under the age of 21. Please use responsibly.
So you guys were there so early. We check in, then proceed to have 6 beers.
Yeah.
And, you know, we saw ducks, we saw rabbits.
Yeah, we took in the sights and sounds of the Sonoma Marin Fair.
You ate a corn dog.
I ate a corn dog, which was fine.
I know.
I really thought it was going to be, I had it built up in my head.
You guys were building up the corn dog the night before.
But it was necessary. It was more of out of necessity than desire at that point. But we saw lots of livestock. We saw a bunny competition happening.
Let me go back to this corn dog real quick.
Yeah.
Because I know I have like an every 2-year insane craving for a corn dog.
I forgot how sweet they are.
Oh, was the corn really sweet?
The dough itself was more sweet than savory, which is not, and it was more doughy than like full fried. Oh. And I think I was like in my head imagining more of like a savory funnel cake texture on the outside.
You know what we should experiment with?
Yeah.
Making our own corn dogs. But also, I like cornbread. We could do it 2 ways. I like a cornbread that has like some like chilies and actual chunks of corn,
spice,
or you could do like a rosemary blend.
Yeah, this was like a donut on the outside of a hot dog, which
is
wasn't
weird.
bad, wasn't terrible, but was just like, I think I would have loved a more savory leaning dish right now. The craziest thing about corn dogs is that little stick will poke you if you are not careful. I forgot how dangerous it was.
Why is it so sharp?
And they put that dog so far down on the stick that as soon as you start eating it, it's touching that little dangly thing in the back of your throat. And I was like, oh man. Elliot literally looked at me at one point because he knew that we had been drinking the night before and we're all hungover. He goes, do not choke on that stick before you have to go do this. That's like, he's like, stand still and eat it. We don't need to walk.
It only needed to be more like halfway through. It was all the way through to where like you got halfway through that dog and I was like, she's giving a pencil a blowjob.
Yeah.
A very sharp pencil.
Yeah.
It is fully kebabbing the dangle.
It was great in theory. Like most of the things that day. Great in theory. Different in practice.
Well, I got myself a hand pie.
Yeah, you did, which I should have gone for. They look great.
Well, I bit into it and immediately it was ground beef. And I spit it out and was like, oh no, you gave me the wrong one. Chip goes, the one with M. It's the vegetarian one. I go, I think the one with V. I think the M stands for meat. Or mince or whatever. So anyway, long story short, we got a little in our belly. We had some beer. Beans was wished all the luck.
And we could see, we were hanging by the stage, but we also, had seen everything the fair had to offer very quickly.
Yes.
And so we just decided
Wasn't a large fair.
Decided to hang by the stage. So we're getting a little glimpse at the owners and their dogs who were there even before us,
Yeah.
which to me, I'm like, if they need notes, I think these dogs should show up a little later in the day because they are, you know, some of them are not as obviously medically sound as others. And
I mean,
it was a
guys.
hot day under a hot tent.
It was a scorcher, and I was like, "Do you have a water bowl I can have for beans?" And then they just gave me a bottle of water. God bless them. But I was just like, "Do any of these dogs have water?"
I know. It's up to, I mean, and it was fun to see like so many of their handlers had varying forms of like merch and representative items of like headbands and
Yes.
lanyards and obviously homemade t-shirts.
Right.
And people in the audience, you could see that they're like fans or family members had like posters and signs.
I loved it. It felt very much like it felt like small town. Like beauty pageant.
Yeah,
You know, or like get it, girl. You know, like like toddlers and tiaras, but for little weirdos.
little weirdos.
But I mean, if I was competing with Beans, which it's not out of the question, I just thought it would be unfair.
Yeah, I mean, after
And she's not
seeing-
ugly; she's cute.
I know, that's the thing. Is that's what I learned. A big takeaway for me in this contest was
Right.
learning what was ugly and
Versus
what do
quirky.
people think is ugly.
Versus, yeah, because look, a tongue does not constitute
Ugly.
being ugly.
Quirky.
Now, granted, if Beans was competing, I might get some fake tongues made for
you
people
guys-
to stick out of their mouth.
First impression, you guys would knock it out of the park.
God bless.
Natural ugliness, not so much. She's not naturally very ugly.
No, and she was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. No one else was dressed. But Grace and I were trying to avoid really seeing glimpses of the dogs so that we could give it a true first impression.
Yeah, we didn't look at their profiles online beforehand. We really wanted to come in authentically reacting to these animals.
However, I had like cold sweats the night before we were coming up here. I woke up at 5 a.m. like bing, and I was like, did I
I know.
Are we really judges on this, or did I like somehow get lost in translation, convince myself, or like it's actually also there's the Sonoma Marin Fair, which this was at, and there's the Sonoma County Fair.
Yeah.
And that at 5 a.m. I Google Sonoma Fair, and it was like August 24th, and I was
my
like,
God.
wait, we're leaving to go up there tomorrow. I got it completely wrong. So then I'm like Googling and stuff. But when you go to the actual website, they have all the dogs and then the judges at the end. So I had to like close my eyes and scroll to the bottom to make sure that we were on there as judges. And there we were. But you guys, now let's get into judges meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
What we were up with.
Okay.
So we're sitting there.
Well, first of all, you were like, texted me super early. We're on the website.
Yeah,
we are judges.
I was freaking out.
And I was like, oh, I want to see the judges beforehand, just to, you know, walk in with a little professionalism.
Yeah.
That like we're not two total idiots that beg to be here. Instead, from the website, what I saw was a man that does a lot in news broadcasting.
Well, there was the Today Show guy, and there was one guy there from the Today Show. He was clearly like producing the package, and he also is a judge. Then there was another. It was just.
Was there another news reporter guy?
No, he was a business guy. He was a consultant.
Oh, I was getting the two of them confused. I knew the Today Show guy because he was wearing the hat with the Today Show on
logo,
it,
yeah.
which I appreciate. Like I was wearing our merch for it, so who am I to judge?
You gotta always be plugging.
And then a woman who owned a vineyard up here or owned a wine label or something.
Dutch Crossing, I think was the name of it. She owns a vineyard up here. But the best part about it is her photo on the website. She's standing beside a penny farthing, which if you guys don't know what that is,
I didn't know what that word was.
I love this word so much.
You were like, the woman with the penny farthing though. And I was like, I assume you mean the woman with the bicycle with the one big wheel and the one tiny wheel.
I know this because there was I think a bar in the East Village called like Penny Farthing, and that was the logo. So when you got which I don't understand, were those, at one point, did people think the design of the Penny Farthing was better than a normal bike? Like why was there an era where there was one big wheel?
I don't know. I don't know if it was a circus thing. I don't know if it was like, let's test this out and then reduce it down to its actual size.
I also remember there was one guy in Brooklyn who rode one.
Yeah, and I bet he was not fun to be around.
He was the worst. I'm sure he's the worst, and he was probably like a snobby bartender. But anyway, this woman had a penny farthing, and we're like, okay, she owns a vineyard. This guy's just a businessman, but his bio is 10,000 words.
Yeah, we sent 3 sentences, and I was like, we are being obnoxiously like over the top with this bio.
Grace sent me a very, very tiny bio, and I was like, that should be New York Times best-selling authors. That was my one note. I was like, to legitimize ourselves.
Let's keep it so simple. And then I looked at this website, and these were like the opening chapters of each of their autobiographies.
It was like the love story of Bubbles and Brian. I was like, I don't need to know when you were conceived.
I appreciate it. I was like, I actually know now everything. About these judges. Okay, here we go.
So we get there, and immediately we're sitting, and I see a man enter, and he goes and talks to the tech booth, and I go, this must be the host. Because they didn't have the host listed.
One outlier and mystery was that we didn't know who was hosting this whole event.
It wasn't on the website. When I asked Cindy Chong, when I said, hey, what's the deal tomorrow?
Yeah.
She sent the lineup, and she was like, RMC will ask you one question. Make it brief or say something, tell a funny story. Like,
yeah, it said, yeah, on stage our MC will ask you one question. Have fun, tell a story, but keep it brief. But she didn't tell us what the one question would be. So obviously, riddled with anxiety the whole night.
I was ready to.
I had been in one beauty pageant in college, and that's all I could think about was like, ooh, do we go for funny? Do we go for sincere answer? Do we go for this? I just talked about how my dad and brother and I did triathlons and that we were awful at it and almost drowned. And I like went for the funny thing. And every other girl came up and was like, I do this charity and I'm 19 and I started this nonprofit organization. And I was like, my dad and my brother and I took some dirty bikes out in South Jersey. And my brother rode my stepmom's bike in a triathlon and didn't do well.
And my other brother was on a penny farthing. And he, Chip was in a beauty pageant once.
I know.
In college. And he got a question. And I'm pretty sure it was the, like, who would you most want to have dinner with, dead or alive? And I was like, well, who'd you say? And he was like, us. He was like, of course I said Jesus. You got to give the people what they want. Like my atheist boyfriend said Jesus. So anyway, we see this man come in and he is in head to toe black and a top hat.
A top hat. And what I said, you know, if that's not the host, we should tell someone about that man. Because he has a concerning presence here in this fair. And we see him, he goes right up to the stage. Like, and he gets right in the audio guys' faces.
Oh, he's giving them special cues.
Yeah. He's a workshop, like he came in like he came late to his call time and is trying to make up for time.
He came in like he would be played by Nathan Lane.
A little taller. He had a big presence.
He was a tall man. He came in, and since he was so tall, with the top hat and the all black, I was like, pardon me, sir, did you just finish being a pallbearer in the 1800s?
So I said, this is the Undertaker, that if one of these dogs dies on stage, he's here to provide the services.
Speaking of, though, we were talking about what our dog's entrance song would be, and I was like, mine might just be the Undertaker's theme, and then Beans comes out of like a little coffin. Okay, so
we go into this judges meeting.
Yeah, they say judges to the stage, and we're like, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're up there. The man,
we meet this host.
He has been hosting it, I think, for years and years and years. We have gathered from his vibe that he's a local radio host.
Yeah, he says. He goes into like what is like autopilot. Like he has been doing this for years. And so every year he explains it to judges like just like this. And he's going through his notes to make sure he's got everyone's name pronunciation. But he just starts with like, I've been doing this for 1 billion years. This is the stupid hat I wear every year.
And we were like, well, at least he's self-aware.
I'm glad he called this out immediately. Yeah. Because this is really distracting if we don't talk about it.
But the best part is, so he's going through, and of course there's another judge, the businessman judge.
Yeah.
Has also been hosting for several years.
He's been judging for a while.
Judging for years and years, like 15 years.
Yeah.
And you could tell he wanted to be the host.
Oh, there is a quiet
hatred
competition happening there. He's just not tall enough. This guy, Brent, who was the host, who told us he was, well.
Okay. So he goes around doing
names. All coming back.
I mean, Grace and I get there. First of all, no shade, no tea, no ageism, but we are in our mid to late 30s. Everyone else is in their late
felt,
60s, 70s.
Yeah, I felt like I was a 13-year-old at like a wedding reception that was all adults.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, can I get Shirley Temple, please?
They're there. I was like, oh, who invited the child actors? Ooh, it's us, guys. Straight off of Kids Incorporated.
Here we come.
So he goes through. Penny Farthing is just looking at him like, who is this guy? She had these big old eyes. I loved her.
Yeah, she was so intimidating and cool.
But first he's going around, and so he says to her, he goes, wait, and you have the vineyard, right? You didn't bring any wine? And then she goes, I wanted to. Cindy wouldn't let me. Poor Cindy Chong, who's got a broken knee, is like, what?
Immediate drama.
You could have brought wine. Don't throw me under the bus.
Immediate drama based off of a nothing joke.
Which, by the way, when we checked in with Cindy Chong, the first thing she said to us is, I just ate a cinnamon roll.
And my boyfriend doesn't eat sugar. And if I die, I just want to have whiskey and cigars for the rest of my life.
We said, well, nice to meet you. Should we check back in later?
Do we have time to get another beer, Cindy, before we have to come back here?
So he's going around, of course, and he gets to Grace. Of course, he's like automatically like, oh, and what's your name? You know, pretty lady kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and we have
say
here, and I was like, it's Mamrie. And he goes, oh, so just making sure it's not Mamrie. And at this point, I just go, it's definitely not.
The first audible words she said to this man.
It's definitely not. And he realizes he needs to back out of this bad joke.
Yeah.
So he just goes, well, my name is Brett, which in German is burnt.
And my parents thought that was so funny to do. And I said,
we said, okay.
all right. Do you realize that makes it sound like your parents hate you?
This baby looks burnt.
This guy's burnt.
So anyway, of course we get all the older white men jokes of like, they're like, and now these two, they're going to be sharing a vote. And one's like, well, which one has their hand up the other one's back? Well, which one's going to sit on the other one's lap?
I said, well, this is an evocative question. And then finally thanked my favorite judge that was there the whole night.
Our savior.
I don't know. I have to look up his name, but he was a vet.
Veterinarian.
A veterinarian.
Not like an army
Yeah,
vet.
he was a vet. He was wearing the smock, and so he was dressed the part.
He had the scrubs
of a vet. But he was you were telling me afterwards that he was like a bird vet.
He was a bird vet. That's how they introduced him. But he was, I guess you get like, you know how to check vitals.
Yeah.
But so he, thank God, was like, I've already checked all the dogs out. They're healthy. They're good to go.
Because the host told us when he's going through all of this diatribe of what to do and how the whole event's going to run, that they're going to come out, maybe do a little trick, opening number, whatever. And then we want to have some interaction where we dialogue with each other.
Yeah.
But caveat, if a dog looks like it's suffering, which it has happened in the past, a couple years ago, apparently a dog was on stage and like hadn't had water and was like freaking out in some way, and the owner was overdoing press, said Brent. The owner was out of there doing press, doing their thing with the camera, and I had to run and save this dog.
Yeah,
and
Brett, of course, gave himself credit for saving the dog.
Brett is a hero that we learned very quickly, and he saved the dog, but the dog died 3 days later.
This is what we're being told to pump us up to judge this is, hey, if a dog looks like it's gonna die, it just might.
You got to get up there and save it because it might only have 3 days after this.
And then they say to us, also, we're down a dog.
We're down a dog. We saw one of the handlers sobbing on the sidelines before the competition started. So we were like, some drama's happening.
Maybe the dog got sick this morning, something like that.
Who knows?
Turns out, guys, which, spoiler alert, that dog won the People's Choice Award and wasn't there.
You could vote online in real time during the event for your favorite dog, the way that people like vote for American Idol, and they announced it at the end, and the dog that won, Liberace was not there at the event itself, which is fine by me. I didn't want double winners at this event. I wanted everyone to kind of get what they deserve.
But I will say, if you're listening, Liberace, we hope you're doing okay.
You looked great and you look totally terrible in your photo.
You looked like a tadpole with legs.
Yeah, you look like one of those stress dolls where the eyeballs bug out when you squeeze it.
Yes.
But I've been like saved from a fire.
But Liberace, well deserved.
Wishing you all the best.
So
this thoughts and prayers. But this guy, this vet in this.
Thank God he was there.
He was there because then these two other guys are going like,
Goofballs.
who's sitting on whose lap with chairs up there? And the vet just turns, he goes, another evocative question. And I was like, yeah.
We're like the vets on our
Yeah, the
on
vet-
our side that these older men are being a little spicy to us.
Yeah, they're
and it's not
teetering
okay.
on a line that doesn't work
They
anymore,
can't
dudes.
walk back from.
So this next thing I've actually started using way more regularly because you know that I could use any help with my health, especially my gut health that I can get. I'm talking about AG1. There's a huge hype about it. I wanted to see what it was all about, and it turns out it's pretty fantastic. What is this stuff? Okay, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day off right. And it actually has this delicious, mild, tropical taste, so it's something to look forward to. It is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And it supports better sleep and recovery, mental clarity, alertness, especially gut health. And the best thing is it costs you less than $3 a day. Investing in your health, it's incredible. It's cheaper than if you have one of those cold brew habits that I've heard of some people having. Not to name names, Chip Morgan. Athletic Greens, this is the company, was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues. Hey, I can relate. And ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover, and it cost him $100 a day. So he created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutrition routine on your own. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews. You got to get into it. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. You can handle that because I can. That's it. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/TMGW. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/TMGW to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
So then we get to the actual event. Brett takes the stage.
Brent.
And we immediately learn why he was back at the sound booth so much, because he has created
An opening
number. So he's like created this guy and hit it, and then he just backs away from the mic for like a few feet, and it's like, in a world where dogs are ugly and owners, and it's like
Honestly,
2 minutes long.
I give him all the credit.
It was great. It was wonderful.
I was like, I see myself in this moment right now when we do our live shows.
We do our shows where we're like, is this a good idea in a hotel room
And
at
I'm
2
like,
a.m.?
hit it. And then I just squiggle around on stage.
So Brett's over there just kind of laughing at his own voice. We loved it, which, by the way, when we were in the judges meeting, what I loved is Brent?
Yeah, Brent.
Brent was like, now here's how you hold a microphone.
Yeah.
And he gave us this whole tutorial, which I understand.
Appreciate.
Like some people, you know, if you're a vet, you're not like on the mic all the time.
But he only looked at us.
He only stared at us. And the amount of self-restraint it took to not go, well, Brett, we just finished a sold-out East Coast tour, and we're here to promote our podcast, which I don't know if you know, uses microphones. So stop staring at us, Brent.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I thought it was very funny.
It was funny. So they call us up. I don't even remember what we said on stage, but
They didn't ask us a question. Turns
didn't.
out they just gave us the mic when they called us up and let us say whatever we wanted.
Which, by the way, also shout out, we had people in the audience wearing our merch. We
Yeah.
had fans and listeners come out.
Thank you guys for coming
It
out.
was amazing.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I know. It was a hoot and a half. So it was really nice to meet all you guys.
Yeah.
But so I just remember taking the mic and being like, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how ugly these things are. And then finally the show starts. Brent has gone over everything except where the dogs come from.
Yeah,
He
no
announces
idea.
the first dog. It's like 15 seconds of no show and everyone looking around the stage. Finally, this dog emerges from the back ramp.
You guys, we didn't realize they full on put the dogs on the table in front of us.
We were joking before we got there about what if this is like is it the Westminster dog
Yeah, where
show?
you get to like hold up a tail.
Where they
look at the snout.
The judges are like inspecting the entire dog head to toe, and that's what happens.
That's exactly what happens. All of a sudden, there is a crazy little motherfucker just right in front of us.
And the owner's explaining all the features of the dog that make it ugly, all the ins and outs that we might not notice on first glance. Like, here's some warts behind the ears.
Yeah.
Here's some crust in the nails. It was like,
there's an extra toe.
Yeah. Oh, lots of scraggle extra toes.
Lots of extra toes. I mean, Beans is in that family. She's got an extra toe. But so they are right up in there, and like the owners aren't mic'd, so they're like truly just campaigning to us.
Yeah.
And what I loved,
the audience couldn't see, like, there was no big camera that showed the dog
needs
up
to be a big camera.
close to everyone. I know, that's what I realized afterwards. I was like, oh, people couldn't see at all what we were seeing.
the funky funk. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we went to go see Britney Spears in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, how are there no screens that are bigger?
Yeah.
And it was so like you couldn't tell how much she was lip syncing.
Yeah.
But I was still just like, so we just have to squint?
Yeah.
And because remember, there was a person beside us who had binoculars.
Opera
glasses.
Yeah, tiny opera glasses.
I would have brought opera glasses to this competition. So I'm saying next year, if we produce it, we're getting a live screen.
I think we have some solid notes for
I think
you
we
guys.
do. But so we're judging these. My favorite thing is, so we're kind of being asked like what we think. Brent asked Grace out of the gate 3 questions in a row.
Also, we have name tags in front of us, like
Yes.
pieces of paper that I was like, oh, this is great. Okay, they have all of our name tags set up, so I can even look and see what this judge's name is if I forget. And then Bren just immediately goes, Grace, what do you think of this? Grace, what do you think of this? And then Mamrie finally gave her the mic to answer. And then he clearly was having a meltdown in his head of how to say your
He
name.
had PTSD from me going, it's definitely not. And so he only referred to me as Bean.
Then he goes, what does Bean think of this one here?
So I only spoke through Bean like
Yeah.
I'm freaking Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost. And I'm like, well, Brent, Bean says she enjoys this strong follicle hair. Well, Brent, Beans has whispered in my ear. So I am only a medium.
But he stopped even asking me. It was only Bean, and then he realized halfway through that it was actually Beans, and so he started correcting himself and saying Beans, and that was great. You know, you gotta adjust on the fly.
There were such absolute cuties. We fell in love with a little freak named Monkey.
Monkey. I loved Monkey so much, and the hard thing was that visually, from a distance, Monkey didn't look that ugly. Looked kind of cute.
From a distance.
But up close, this is why they need those cameras.
Yeah.
Monkey had some shit going on.
Monkey's nose looked like 10-year-old peanut butter.
You know those ads that you get for like bad toenail shit?
That
was
haunt
on
me.
his
That
nose. I know. Or her nose, because the owner came
Monkey.
up and I thought it was bleeding out of its feet, but no, the owner had just given it a red nail polish pedicure probably weeks ago, and it was chipping off everywhere. And he said she doesn't go anywhere without her nails done. I was like, thank God, I thought she was bleeding out of her toes.
To which the older man who was, in on the ventriloquism jokes and who really wanted to be the host goes, a man painted those toenails?
And a man painted those toenails.
A man painted. So anyway,
I wanted to be like, what do you think is wrong with that?
yeah, what's your let's have a gender
Say
fucking
it into the microphone.
Yeah, let's do this because we got a bunch of fucking Gen Zers wearing our merch who are ready to take you down. So anyway, we saw so many cute dogs. It was
Amazing.
wild.
Mr. Happy Face was
Clear
above
winner.
and beyond, very clear winner. The nice thing was going into the judges' huddle at the end where
Yes.
because we all wrote down these numbers on
And then
these 5 categories. That was bullshit. We just talked to each other and said,
Yeah.
who's first, second, third?
We got together and Penny Farthing was like, "Is Mr. Happy Face right?" And we were like, "Yeah."
But she also wanted Mr. Happy Face #1 and this other dog named Wild Thing, which to me looked wild but not super ugly. Like it just had long, giant. What's that kind of dog?
Wild looked like a koosh ball.
Yeah. And Wild had also been competing for 3 years in a row.
So we're in our judges huddle, and there is a crowd of people to the left of the stage
Screaming Wild
wearing
Thing.
Wild Thing merch and going Wild Thing, Wild Thing.
Yeah.
and we're like,
Now
we
we're
can't be
threatened.
swayed. Yeah, now I feel a little threatened.
If we don't have Wild Thing in the top Two, I feel like we're going to start a riot here at this fair.
Well, we knew it needed to be, and we also wanted Monkey, right?
I just love Monkey.
Monkey
and
was
the
the
vet
best.
was on our side. The vet judge loved Monkey.
Here's the thing about the vet is while people are going like, oh, that's a crazy looking dog.
Yeah.
The vet literally looked at us and goes, Monkey's body doesn't make sense.
The
Monkey has deformities.
Objectively a very ugly dog.
That's what he said.
It was like the back legs don't work correctly. And the nose and the warts, especially the warts, because everyone was going for Wild Thing. And finally, when we're like, okay, Wild Thing's going to get number 2 and Monkey gets number 3, he goes, are you kidding me?
He was so mad.
He was just like, he did not care for Wild Thing at all.
He came from a pure professional, objective opinion about what is wrong with this dog.
He came from science.
Yes. He goes, are you kidding me? And then Penny Farthing made her case and she goes, look, Mr. Happy Face was flirting with Wild Thing backstage, so I think it'd be very cute if they were number 1 and number 2. And we go, what? You think you're building a love story? Are they going to open a vineyard?
Does everyone in Napa just create these fictional love stories in their head?
I said, really, Mr. Happy Face, whose spine looks like a goddamn letter S.
Like a lightning rod hit him in the middle of the night before he showed up to the beauty pageant.
You think he hobbled over to Wild Thing and made a move? He was just trying to walk in a straight line and couldn't do it, my friend.
That wry smile is how his face is shaped. That is not a wink.
His name is Mr. Happy Face. So anyway, we're like, okay, fine, Penny Farthing, create this narrative.
Fine.
The vet is pissed.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're like, all right, we're settled. 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Mr. Happy Face, Wild Thing, and then Monkey, who is being robbed.
Yeah.
So we go over and we give him, and he goes, well, first, who gets the Spirit Award? We go, what? There's a Spirit Award? What?
And we have to decide this?
What? And so we huddle back up, and the vet goes, what constitutes spirit?
I loved him. Brass tacks questions. That's a good judge. That's a good judge.
So we gave the Spirit Award to a sweetheart dog who looked like a baboon, but because I think it's
She was
because
adoptable.
she was up for adoption.
Yeah.
So
we wanted
were,
to give her some promo for that audience.
yeah, so we promoted her when she came out. And
Yeah.
by the way, let me just say, Grace and I got some good jokes in.
I think we did.
I think we got some people were enjoying us to the point where when the competition was over and everyone was crowned, a woman rounds this, like people came up and they were like, you were the funniest.
Yeah, this woman that was dressed in khaki from head to toe just came up with like lots of bags hanging off
Lots of
her.
bags. She got a lot of totes that day.
Because we were waiting, there was like all this press and photography happening on the
Today
stage.
Show.
And so we were just trying to set off to the side. And she was like, was it you guys making the jokes? Was it you guys? Which one of you was saying the joke?
She goes, you, the blonde one.
One
You were
of
making
you.
the jokes, but who was the other woman with you? And I'm like, the woman standing beside her right now, probably.
She goes, I was all the way in the back. I couldn't see you. You guys were great.
Everyone was so sweet and complimentary, and we got to hang out with. We got to pet all these dogs. I didn't know I was gonna get I got licked by Marita. I mean,
Monkey was in my face, and I might have been a
It
little
would've
biased
disgusted.
because it was truly ugly. Like Monkey was the kind of dog that I was like, this is a great dog, and then I need it to go away because it's a little hard to look at.
I want to hang out with Monkey. I don't want to snuggle with Monkey.
No,
I don't know what's happening on that body, but it was so
Amazing.
fucking funny.
Amazing.
I would judge it again in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
And make it an annual thing. But also, I mean, Brent, when are you retiring? We can get 2 top hats. We'll come out in full Dumb and Dumber tuxes.
Happy to take the torch.
We are Mr. Happy Face to do it. If you guys haven't seen photos, if you just Google World's Ugliest Dog Contest, there are not only pics of all the contestants and the winners, there are pics of us investigating the dogs.
We were taking it very seriously as we could. Us and the vet, I think, were there for serious judging.
Yes.
And I think we did okay. And I'd love to do it again because now I know what it's like. And also, thank you to Cindy and everyone at the fair for letting us do it.
Thank you, Cindy and Christy at the
Christy.
Petaluma, at the Sonoma Marin Fair. And thanks to everyone who came out and we got to take some pictures. And I know there was a couple of people who came out who we didn't see again, but we got to meet, and it was just so lovely.
It was great.
It was the best day.
It was.
And then we immediately had to come home and continue drinking, and then get up and go to that wine tasting.
Yeah,
And here we are. I mean, it got weird.
Yep.